Hello and welcome, guys. Thank you for joining me for another night of live. I also like to recognize those that's catching it from YouTube and or SoundCloud. It is indeed a blessing to be here with you tonight. As tonight we're talking about help. My spouse does not treat me right. And guys, I know that this can be a very controversial topic because it's not something that many of us like to talk about when it comes to our personal relationships and things like that. So tonight I just thought, what better time than now to bring it to the forefront so that we can kind of break down some of the myths and perceptions that we have as it relates to marriages and other relationships. It can be friendships or courtships or business relationships. So we're going to talk about that. But first, let's do a little housekeeping. Housekeeping. If you have not been to bonfire.com, to our online store to check out our new inventory, it's a good time for you to go and check that out. Not only do we have hoodies and long sleeves and sweatshirts getting ready for the fall months, but we also have added coffee mugs and the face mask. So go to bonfire.com/store/babes-tees. Again, that's bonfire.com/store/babes-tees. Check out our new inventory. Find something you like. Make that purchase. The proceeds from the purchase that you make benefit our education program offered through my nonprofit. We have a youth education proctor program that's giving youth a safe, facilitated space to do their virtual learning. So many kids we know have not gone back to school. They're doing virtual learning from home, distance learning, and we provide an alternative for those families. So make your purchase there at Bonfire. We really appreciate your business, and we hope and know that you're going to find something that you like there. Also, if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, click the link, go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. I can't tell you how much of a blessing that can be for you. I cannot tell you how important it is for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can continue to follow this platform when it begins to make changes. Okay? Also, if you haven't had an opportunity, visit my website. My website is www.antriciabraysmith.weebly.com. Again, that's www.antriciabraysmith.weebly.com. There you will see some courses, books, and other resources there that are available for you to help you not only in your personal life, but also in your business. Hey, Diane, thank you for joining me tonight. I'm glad you're here. Also, for the others who are watching in the background and catching the replay, don't forget to send me a shout out. Let me know you're here. I'm glad that you're here with me tonight. I'm not going to hold you long. Tonight, we're coming from the controversial topic that, my spouse does not treat me right. And believe it or not, guys, we judge people so much when it comes to relationships and marriages and courtships. Sometimes, we have in our mind that when people are in marriages and when they're in relationships and we see them and they're out and they're happy-go-lucky, we think that they're in this perfect happy-go-lucky marital bliss or courtship. And guys, not all the time that is the truth. Not all the time it is true, but because we're in a space that is so intimate and because we're in a space to where we feel like it is our job or our obligation to protect the other, it's not something that people talk about. And don't neglect to think all of the people who were already in relationships that were already strained, what COVID has did as a result of that strained relationship. COVID didn't help any of it. Don't think that the relationships got better because now they're in a more confined space and they have to be in each other's presence. For some people, they're living every day, every minute, every second in fear of the person that they call spouse. And some of them aren't even married. Some of them are in courtships. Some of them are in um, friendships, and we think that because we see them out and they're smiling, or because they live in a certain home, or because they have a particular status or image in the community, we think things are perfect. We think that they're in marital bliss. We think that because they have a little money, that they're not this big old house, that they're happy and everything is just okie dory. But guys, I come to tell you tonight that that could be farther from the truth. There are many, and I cannot just say us women. There are many men as well that are crying out and need help as it relates to their relationship. And not all the time is it physically or verbally abusive. Sometimes it could just be maybe the spouse isn't faithful, or maybe the spouse just doesn't take the time to acknowledge them or to make them feel wanted or desired. We don't know what it is, but if you are in that situation to where your soul is literally crying out and you need help, you're not alone, guys. You're not alone. And remember, this is a platform to where I give you a voice. I give you that voice. I speak to you. I can speak as if it is my own situation, and it does not bother me because there's so many people that are suffering in relationships and they don't have the words for what it is that they're dealing with. And I said oftentimes that sometimes we are the ones that are the abusers. Sometimes we are the ones that escalates situations that we know are already potentially dangerous. We don't always do things right. And hurting people hurt people, and as a result, you hurt me or you hand it to me and I'm going to hand it right back to you, and it's just an escalating situation. And it's not only in our marital relationships, it's in our friendships. We have friendships that are just as toxic and just as abusive and just as degrading as any other relationships I have ever known in my life. So what do we do? What can we do to help somebody who is crying out, knowing that they're in a relationship to where maybe they're being abused, or maybe they're being mistreated, or maybe they've been talked down to, or maybe they're being deprived or in lack? What can we do when we find ourselves in that kind of situation? First and foremost, we have to really understand our particular situation for what it is. If you're in a situation that is abusive or there's potential harm, 9 times out of 10, because it's happened before. And anything that has happened before, or there's a history of that behavior, there's a chance that it can repeat itself. Now, my only question to someone in that situation is, what do you desire to do about it? Because if you're not in a situation to where, or at a place to where you're ready yet, there's nothing that me or anyone else can do. A person has to be willing and wanting and desiring for that change to happen. And once they reach that point and they're aware of it, then they have to have that support system. And that support system can come from anybody. anybody you trust, anybody in the community, community or local professional to help you, someone who's been through the situation and has gotten out, someone from a nonprofit center that deals directly with those kind of situations, because they can be very potentially fatal and dangerous, and it is a scary situation. Um, and so 9 times out of 10, when you are talking with somebody and developing a plan for escape, if it's to that extreme and that's the way you feel like it needs to go, I suggest reaching out to a trained professional or a nonprofit that deals and has experience with that kind of issue. Now, for those that are a little less, and maybe we say, well, he doesn't notice us, or she doesn't treat me good, or she talks down to me, or we're arguing all the time. That's a situation to where, we really have to use our effective communication skills. Because at that point, if we're arguing all the time and we can't get along and we're at each other's throats, we really have to sit down and take a long look at what it is that is really going on here. Are we fighting over the toothpaste? Are we fighting over the house not being clean, or the dinner not being cooked right? What really does it look like? Are we fighting because we're looking for an excuse to leave the house because maybe I'm not being faithful, and so that's excuse I can use to leave the house and go down the road to see my side piece and all this kind of stuff. So we know that when we're in relationships, there's all kind of reasons and excuses that people can use, but we really have to use effective communication. Effective communication is the key to getting to the root of our issues. Because if we love one another, one of the things that we really have to decide is, what does love look like? And are we really showing that love? Are we really being sensitive, or being aware of what the other's needs are? Because in relationships, there's no longer one. And that's where so many of our relationships fail, is because we still have that selfish nature, that single mentality where it's all about me, 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 me. And we never want to balance that out. So we really have to be careful in that. So what is it when we say someone doesn't treat us right? Have we expressed what it is that we need from our spouse or our significant other? Have we really expressed that and let them know what that looks like? And we know that when people have their addictions, and when people have underlying issues that they're not willing to deal with, sometimes they're not capable of giving us solely everything that we need. But we can communicate, and we can discuss what getting help looks like, and we can discuss coming up with some kind of verbal agreement or something that puts us in a better space, that we can sit down and really have that conversation. And it's not attacking, guys. We can say, when you don't pick up your socks off the floor, then I feel like I'm a maid, or I'm unappreciated, or I feel like you don't really care the effort I put into keeping the house clutter free or clean, and allow my opportunity to respond without being judgmental, without being offensive, and just kind of see. Because oftentimes we do things, we get so relaxed in our relationships that we do things without even considering how the other is feeling. And I know I am, number one, guilty. I know that my husband works hard all day and night. He comes home and I've sat around on the couch all day. I haven't done much all day. So to my husband, that could be that could be emotionally draining on him. My husband likes a clean house, so that could pull on the relationship because I've sat around all day and maybe the floor needed to be swept, and I could have took 5 minutes out of my day to get up off the couch to sweep the floor, and then he comes in and the floor is clean, the house is clean, and that puts a smile on his face, But sometimes we have things that bother us, but instead of expressing that, instead of communicating that, we hold it in and we let it build, and it builds up so to where now it looks like we're not treating each other right. Now it looks like we don't love each other. Now it looks like we're not respecting one another. Now it looks like I need an excuse to leave the house. Okay, so guys, there's always a root cause to everything. I don't think anybody wakes up one day and just automatically decides, oh, I just don't love my spouse anymore. Oh, they get on my nerves so that, oh, I don't know what happened. I just wake up and they're not attractive to me anymore. I don't believe that is an issue. Not in a 90% of our relationships. I think 90% of our relationships, we want it to work. We want to do right by one another. But it's when we leave our little frustrations and those little things unaddressed, and we don't communicate that to one another in a respectful way, that it begins to build and create barriers in the relationship. So we can say, oh, they don't treat me right, or they never tell me that I look good or something like that. And so we have to express whatever it is we need from our relationship. We have to be vulnerable enough to communicate that, and it's okay. Now, if you're in, like I said, in one of those situations where he or she is just not going to be faithful, and you're just at the point that you cannot deal with that, then you have to decide at that point what it's going to be best for you. You have to decide at that point what your strategy for moving forward is going to be, and whether that. And we're always on the outside looking in, and always on the outside and judging and all that. We always have the remedy for somebody else's relationships when we really don't. Because truth of the matter is, for those that are saying what they would do and what they wouldn't put up with, you don't know what they're dealing with. They probably dealing with something far worse than what your situation is. So you really have to be the one that make the decision for you and your relationship, and what's being treated right and what's not, and what you're willing to live with and accept and what you're not. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Many people will judge your relationship, and then they'll go out and get one far worse than what yours is, and that's just the truth of the matter. So it's all about what you can deal with, what you can live with, and what you're willing to put up with at the end of the day. So if you're not being treated right, or you feel like you're not getting everything you need out of the relationship, communication, that is the key. You must be willing to communicate that. And if you're in a position to where you cannot communicate with that, in fear of being assaulted, or in fear of losing your life, or in fear of danger, then when you're ready and when you're at that place, then start developing your exit plan. I appreciate you guys taking the time to join me tonight. I'll be right back here tomorrow night at 10 p.m. I am your host, Anntricia Bray Smith, author, educator, and public speaker. Good night, everybody.